So today, we're going to dive into something called the why diet. And really, it's a whole new way of thinking about health. It's asking us to just toss out the old, rigid rulebooks of dieting and instead build an approach that's personalized, one that actually fits into our real, messy, busy lives. Let's break down how it works.
You know that feeling, right? Diet fatigue. You get stuck in that cycle of trying these super strict plans. Maybe you see some results, but then it all comes back. And you just get this feeling that none of this stuff was actually designed for you. Well, the why diet starts from a totally different place, by asking a whole new set of questions.
So what is this thing exactly? Well, at its heart, the why diet is this incredible hybrid. It takes the deep, holistic wisdom from ancient Eastern philosophies and smashes it together with the pinpoint precision of modern science. But here's the real magic. It makes it all incredibly practical, using a simple but powerful tool called Smart Swaps. What you're looking at here are two really powerful ways of seeing the world. On one hand, you've got ancient wisdom, which gives us the big picture, the why. It sees food as just one piece of our entire life's architecture. And on the other hand, you've got modern science, which gives us the how, the nitty-gritty biological mechanisms. The why diet lives right at that beautiful intersection. Okay, let's dive into that first pillar, the ancient wisdom. This is all about getting our heads around the idea that food is never, ever just food. It's always part of a much, much bigger story. See, these classical systems knew something really profound. They knew that any diet focused only on calories or macros is just incomplete. It's kind of like trying to fix a huge, beautiful building by only staring at one single brick. It just doesn't work. This philosophy forces us to zoom out and look at the entire structure of our lives. And that structure is captured perfectly in what's called the AVAVS framework. Now look closely. Ahara, which is food and drink, is just one of 5 pillars, and they're all connected. It shows that what we eat can't be pulled apart from our lifestyle, our daily routines, our thoughts, and even how we move. A little change in one area sends ripples through all the others. And this framework also gives us a super practical vocabulary to connect what's on our plate to what's going on in our mind. It uses this concept of sattvic thinking to help us describe how different foods make us feel mentally. Do they give us clarity, drive, or do they make us feel kind of sluggish and foggy? It's really about eating for your mind, not just for your body.
All right, so let's flip to the second pillar, modern science. And this is where it gets really cool, because this is where we find all the hard data and the specific mechanisms that are actually starting to prove what these ancient traditions observed ages ago.
So first up, we have chrononutrition. This science basically confirms that when you eat can be every bit as important as what you eat. I mean, think about it. That huge meal you eat late at night is processed completely differently by your body than that exact same meal eaten at lunchtime. Our bodies have these internal clocks, and when we start eating in sync with them, it can absolutely transform our metabolism.
Then you have Nutrigenomics. This is the science that finally explains why a diet that's a miracle for your friend does absolutely nothing for you. It looks at how our unique genes respond to different foods. And this totally reframes health, right? It's not about simple willpower anymore. It's about this constant, dynamic conversation happening between our DNA and our environment. And finally, there's the science of the metabiome. Just think of this as the huge, complex ecosystem living inside your gut, like an internal garden. The wide diet sees this garden as a central target for getting healthy. The goal is to nurture it and rebalance it, especially after all the damage that can be done by ultra-processed foods. Okay, so we have this profound ancient wisdom on one side, and this cutting-edge modern science on the other. But the million-dollar question is, how in the world do we actually apply any of this to our normal, busy, modern lives? Well, the answer is the third, and you could argue the most important piece of the whole puzzle. And that piece is Smart Swaps. Seriously, forget about those drastic, life-altering overhauls. These are small, targeted, and totally realistic changes that are designed to actually stick. The whole point is to improve your health without blowing up your family life, your culture, or your social plans.
Let's look at what this actually looks like. Instead of banning fried snacks forever, maybe you bake them a few times a week. Instead of saying no more late-night meals, you just adjust what you're eating and how much you're eating. It's brilliant, right? These are those little hinges that swing really big doors.
I love this metaphor. The why diet calls them behavioral microsurgeries. It's such a powerful way to think about it. Instead of that brute force approach that almost always fails, these are tiny, precise little interventions that are designed to slowly but surely reshape your habits and your health for good.
So when you bring all three of these things together, you've got the ancient wisdom, the modern science, and these practical smart swaps. You don't just get another diet. No way. You get something totally different, a dynamic, personalized system.
And this right here is the absolute key distinction. A conventional diet is a fixed pattern. It's a list of eat this, don't eat that. But the Y diet is an adaptive system. It's designed to fit your unique life, your job, your family, your culture, and it's meant to change and evolve as your life changes.
Well, this brings up a really important question, doesn't it? If we're not just focusing on weight, then how do you measure success? How do you even know if this system is working for you?
And the answer is the Personalized Well-Being Index, or the PWI. Just think of it like a holistic dashboard for your health. So instead of obsessing over one single number on a scale, the PWI tracks the things that really matter. Your energy levels, your sleep quality, your mood, your stress, all of that right alongside the traditional stuff like metabolic markers.
You know, ultimately, the whole goal is to completely reframe our relationship with food. And this quote from the source material just says it all perfectly. The dining table stops being a place of stress and rules, and it turns into a platform for healing, for learning, and for reconnecting with our bodies, our families, and even with nature itself.
So, we'll leave you with this final thought. What if your diet wasn't a set of commands you had to follow? What if instead it was an ongoing, intelligent conversation with your own body? That right there is the core promise of the Y Diet system. Thanks so much for tuning into this explainer.